Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Kyler Murray's $46 million salary ranks 10th in NFL compensation. Meanwhile, he currently ranks first in QBR rating, and those two statistics would boldly claim the Cardinals quarterback is a tremendous value at the position. Not like Russell Wilson or Sam Darnold kind of value, but a very solid return on investment for a contract that caused so much consternation in and outside of the organization. In fact, that's exactly the column I was planning to write on Sunday after 3 quarters against the Vikings. How Kyler Murray turned out to be worth all the money and all the hassle, and he still very well might be. But I do not understand the Kyler Murray stans who are okay with what their quarterback did at the end of the game against the Vikings, or who thinks it's all misguided criticism, who doesn't understand why it matters so much. Because here's the question: can you go into year 7 with a quarterback who is still glitching in the biggest moments late in the season, a quarterback who still hasn't won a playoff game? Because if you are willing to commit right now to Kyler Murray as QB1 in 2025, regardless of how this season unfolds, then your standards are too low. At its core, the NFL is all about finishing games and finishing seasons. Murray couldn't do the former in Minnesota. He better find a way to do the latter in the coming weeks.
This offense had an opportunity to close the door to win this game, and the interception by Kyler Murray was just brutal. I thought he had a very poor game when it came to seeing the field and being able to get rid of the ball. I like their plan. We talked about it last week. They're going to have a plan for pressure because Brian Flores is as aggressive as anyone in the NFL. He's going to have 6-7 men at the line. You're going to have to make post-snap reads, and Kyler Murray kind of failed in the second half in that regard. And, I really think they could have continued to throw the ball to Trey McBride on those quick out routes the whole entire second half. And it was an opportunity for Kyler Murray to really put his stamp on this team and this game and this season, and he didn't do it.
That was Jay Feely, who joined us yesterday for Kicking It with Jay, as he does every Monday. Mm-hmm. He was critical of Kyler Murray, and I don't think Kyler Murray is exempt from criticism. I think it was one of his worst games of the year, and I agree with Jay. There were opportunities where not only did Kyler not deliver, but he also hampered the effort, too, with the intentional grounding penalty, which inexplicable. Unexcusable for a 60-year quarterback in that situation.
For a 6-year quarterback in that situation. Again, you've got to. Those are the kind of mistakes and the mental stuff that you've got to get out of you. I perceived the game. I'm not saying I'm right. I perceived the game a little differently. For 3 quarters, I thought Kyler Murray was being exactly the quarterback that I want him to be. But again, the panicky stuff seemed to come out late.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the interception. I'm talking about the intentional grounding and just the vibe of when they took that field for that last possession with all hell breaking loose around them. You just got the feel immediately this is going to end badly. This is going to be a debacle.
Yeah, and there wasn't a whole lot of confidence.
Didn't feel that way, did it?
Yeah, and your point is fair. Through 3 quarters, you could kind of chalk it up to the same thing we said about Kyler in the Chicago game. They win by 20. He didn't have to do much in that game. He was 13 of 20, 154 yards, but he didn't run the ball that much. He managed the game because that's the way the game had played out.
Yep.
The Vikings flipped the script on that.
Yep.
Because they got hot offensively and they put the pressure on, and that's where the difference was. That was where the fork in the road came, and Kyler went down the wrong road in that fork.
And you made the point yesterday about how if there was over a minute left and 3 timeouts and it was Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, you would go, well, they left too much time. They're going to lose right now.
That's exactly it.
Or any elite level quarterback, you would have that feeling.
You would, and that didn't happen.
Especially because all they needed was a field goal.
Yes,
right. And again, you can throw all the qualifiers in there that you want. Minnesota, great defense, check. Hostile environment, check. Momentum squarely in the Vikings corner, check. All of that's true. But the great quarterbacks that win Super Bowls get up and over that. And I'm going to continue to keep the standard that high for Kyler Murray. Here's the question: would you right now be willing to say, "Yep, that's our guy for next year"? Now, Grant, you have to look at your options, but I mean, who knows who's going to be available?
Yeah, I mean, I think based on performance, even though it's been spotty and up and down, based on the economics of it, and based on the growth that this team has shown. Now, if the wheels fall off over these last handful of games, these last 5 games, then all bets are off. But right now, I would say yes.
Okay.
But it's not, again, like 2-3 weeks ago, it was a resounding yes. Like he's risen above.
Yes.
And now the doubt has crept in again. And why I'm optimistic about Sunday is because of the up and down nature of Kyler Murray. He was not good in crunch time Sunday in Minnesota. He usually follows that up with a great game.
Yes. Yeah. So I do think that by my standards, this whole season is a referendum on, is this guy going to be your foundational future quarterback? Because if this is what you get, then you might be co-signing yourself to more of the same. That's why these last 5 games are so important. He's got to finish this year strong, in my opinion. It's not like you've got a great option for you. You take a look at a team like Minnesota. The thing, I don't know if you watch Kevin O'Connell's post-game message, but you can see why that guy is such a good coach. There are some coaches that just exude competence, and he's one of them. What they've done with Sam Darnold, and now they've got Daniel Jones stored away, and they've got J.J. McCarthy sitting on the sidelines, okay? They've got a plan. They've got a succession plan in place. There's not one in Arizona. Is there a plan B here right now? If Kyler Murray does not, say Kyler Murray goes 1-4 the rest of the way and does not look good, then what? Then you've got to look at options, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you do. And the thing that's creeping up again, too, is they talk about crunch time in the NFLs. Once you get to November, December, and then those regular season games that bleed into January. Kyler Murray is a winning quarterback in September and October. In 37 career regular season starts after November 1st, he's now 12-25.
Now, to be fair, he had Cliff Kingsbury for a lot of that.
Yeah,
he did. The same stat for him.
But that's why this season's so important to me.
Yes, but no, Cliff Kingsbury is shaking off those labels that were on him as the offensive coordinator for the Commanders.
Yeah.
More so than Kyler is shaking off his labels at this point. If it's a week by week race, I would give the edge to Kingsbury right now with what he's done with Jaden Daniels. And
Coming back and winning last week convincingly,
and I think the Commanders, the Commanders' downslide had to do with Jaden Daniels' health. He wasn't right. He had a rib injury that he was playing through, and he was trying to tough through it, and it caused his production to dip. They scored 42 points or whatever it was again on Sunday.
Yeah, that was a big bounce back for them.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.